northern India, a dust-white plain near the village of Kili. The Mongol horde expected another easy victory. They had crossed mountains before, broken kingdoms before. They believed they knew how empires collapsed. But on this field, something different waited for them. The sound reached them first. Not hooves, not drums, a deep, rolling thunder. Alive, breathing, war elephants armored, disciplined, and moving straight toward the steppes' most feared riders. For the first time in generations, the Mongols hesitated. This channel explores moments when history did not follow the path we assume was inevitable. Calmly, carefully, without hero worship, we follow systems, choices, and the discipline that shape turning points. Today, we return to a battlefield where the world's most unstoppable cavalry was forced to face something it could not outrun. This is not just the story of war elephants frightening Mongol horsemen. It is about something larger. Why did the Mongol Empire, which shattered Persia, Rus, and ancient China, never conquer the Indian subcontinent? Why did its advance stop here on an open plain, against an army that, on paper, should have been weaker? The answer is not a single heroic charge. It is a chain of decisions, a system of preparation, and the quiet discipline of men who expected invasion and built their world around stopping it. By the late 13th century, the Mongols were not a rumor anymore. They were a pattern. First came scouts, then riders, then burned cities and broken dynasties. Delhi knew this. The Delhi Sultanate lived under a permanent shadow from the northwest. Every valley leading through the Khyber Pass felt like a loaded doorway. Sultans did not ask whether the Mongols would come. They asked when. Alauddin Khalji was not a romantic figure. He was a ruler shaped by pressure, suspicious, calculating, focused on control. He did something crucial. He reorganized the state around endurance. Revenue systems tightened, fortifications strengthened, roads improved, grain stores accumulated. Not glamorous changes, but essential. He built an army designed not for glorious raids, but for holding ground. And at the core of this force stood a weapon uniquely Indian and brutally practical: elephants. Not circus images, not fantasy creatures. Living fortresses, high above infantry, able to break cavalry lines, capable of trampling, pushing, and most importantly, terrifying horses unused to their smell and sound. Four-step warriors whose lives were built on the harmony between rider and horse. Elephants were more than large animals. They were a disruption of the system they relied on. In 1299, a large Mongol force under the Chagatai princes crossed into northern India. Their goal was simple: exploit perceived weakness. They believed Delhi was divided. They believed Alauddin would avoid open confrontation. And for a while that belief looked correct. The Mongols advanced, towns were threatened, pressure mounted. Alauddin made a decision that defined the moment. He did not hide behind Delhi's walls. He marched to Kili and built a camp within striking distance of the invaders. But what mattered most was not the location. It was the formation. Elephants were placed not as decoration but as anchors in the line. Armored heads, towering bodies, mahouts trained to keep formation even under arrow fire. Behind and between them stood infantry and cavalry, disciplined to move with, not against, these living machines. To the Mongols, who were used to speed maneuver and circling attacks, the field did not look familiar. It did not promise the same easy pattern of encirclement. It looked heavy, solid, hard to break. When armies finally faced each other, the battle did not begin with reckless charges. It began with restraint. Mongol commanders tested the line. Arrows darkened the sky. Light probing attacks tried to draw the elephants out of formation. But Alauddin's troops did not surge forward. They held, they absorbed. That discipline mattered. Elephants, mishandled, could panic and crush their own side. Here, they were controlled. Lines were maintained. Signals were followed. The Mongols now faced a dilemma. Their greatest strengths, mobility and fear, were not working. Close in, and risk your horses refusing to advance. Stay far away, and face an enemy that refused to break. For the first time, the psychological advantage shifted. The thundering approach of elephants did something arrows rarely achieved. It reached instinct. Horses reared, arrows wobbled. Riders lost cohesion for seconds that mattered. Commanders had to decide: press into the unknown or preserve the army. It was not a failure of courage. It was the recognition that the battlefield no longer fit the system that had made them invincible elsewhere. The Mongol offensive faltered, not because they were suddenly weak, but because they met a defense deliberately engineered to counter them. War elephants broke momentum. Dense infantry prevented exploitation. Cavalry waited for opportunities rather than chasing glory. Alauddin's army did not need to annihilate the Mongols. It only needed to make the cost of staying too high. Slowly, inevitably, the attackers withdrew. The horde that had expected another shattered kingdom instead rode back across the frontier, leaving Delhi standing, and something subtle but powerful had changed. The myth of Mongol inevitability cracked. The Battle of Kili did not end Mongol power, but it did reshape strategic thinking in India. Rulers now understood that survival against the steppe was not luck, it was design. Systems were strengthened further. Border defenses improved. Military discipline hardened. The Mongols continued to raid northern India in later years, but they never built the same deep, lasting domination they achieved in other parts of Eurasia. At the heart of this limit was geography, climate, politics, and yes, elephants. Not as magical beasts, not as symbols of glory, as tools inside a larger framework of planning, logistics, and psychological warfare. They showed that even the most feared military machine in the world had edges that could be reached. And on a dusty plain in 1299, those edges were found. So the story of Kili is not the tale of elephants defeating the Mongols. It is the story of a state that prepared for pressure and met it with discipline instead of panic. It reminds us that history is not written only by speed and conquest. Sometimes it is written by endurance. If you want more stories like this, moments where the world could have changed direction but didn't, tell me in the comments which one to explore next. If you found this interesting, like the video, share it with someone who loves history, and subscribe for more calm/cinematic dives into the past, because history is not noise, it is pattern, and patterns are what shape the world we live in now.